I started adding like fun things along with the couch gag. So we will also be doing a time travel sequence, which I think
Wow. Okay.
it's not going to be it's not going to be
I
that
I I love it. I'm in love with it. It's gonna be great.
it's going to be great. We're yeah, today's subject is really interesting too. Like I went reading around about it. I don't know if you've read about it since I posted about it on Twitter, but
No, I have not. I'm going in fresh.
ooh, this shit's great. Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. It's gonna really it made my skin crawl, so I think it's gonna definitely titillate the senses for everybody this evening.
All right, I can't wait to titillate some sense.
I was gonna say we might want to be careful about that. Yeah, there might be a TOS thing about that, but
Yeah, what are the exact what's the exact language
on titillating
regarding
senses.
titillation? Yeah. Let me tell you something. Uh, now I don't know. I think it was games. I don't know if anyway, let's say it was Games Workshop.
Mm,
There were a bunch of different colors of paints that
different
you
colors
would
of
use to
paints.
paint your little miniatures.
Oh, okay.
They made miniatures. Um, one of the colors of paint was titillating pink, and
Tittle titillating pink.
sometime around 1997 or so, when I was in high school, that color mysteriously changed to like flesh pink or something because
Because of the word
they
titillating.
decided they didn't want to be have titillating in the shops with children buying miniatures or whatever. I don't fuck something like that. They were like
Titillating.
too titillating. Someone made it. Someone complained. Someone's mom wrote in and was like, "Little Timmy has got a tub of titillating flesh on his little Warhammer desk, and I don't like it."
He's got titties on his desk.
Yeah, titty pink.
Titty.
I don't
T-
like. I'm not. I don't want him. I don't want any titty pink monsters. How many of the creatures in Doom were just straight up fucking titty pink?
titty monsters. Every last one of them.
That one dude was for sure.
Let me make sure.
No, I mean that's. I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Everything was kind of a laying out in the sun pink in
Laying
Doom. To
laying
be
out in the sun
real,
pink.
it wasn't like an. I mean, it was really. I mean, honestly. Well, you know what? Those creatures were titillating pink. That it really. There's nothing. The color, and you don't know the color I'm describing, but it was like it wasn't flesh.
Hmm.
It wasn't any skin tone. It was like a bright pink color. So it was never tits pink. It
late
was
tit
always a lie.
late tits now.
Yes, right.
Oh goodness. But like that's I've never I always wanted to get into like Gundam building, but
Okay, sure. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just I just never had the time to do that sort of stuff.
Gundam shit is like that's really the extreme. No, I mean not extreme, but I mean
It's hardcore, dude.
that's like that's hardcore model building shit with tiny little pieces and stuff. Yeah.
I've seen plenty of people do builds on YouTube, and it's insane.
Oh yeah, that shit gets crazy, crazy.
Like absolutely wild. Oh wait, did oh shoot.
Yes.
I almost forgot something very important. I gotta make
All
sure
right.
that I bring it back uh
Okay.
for the stream here because again I saw so many cool things that I wanted to have like little fun stupid things to
Awesome.
throw on.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad. Awesome.
We're
That's
gonna have some
great.
fun.
I'm glad you got inspired.
Let me find the things I need to find. Where did it go? Ah, there it is. Still, old friend. All right. First of all, cut to the couch set. With
Oh shit! Hey, I even went and made sure when I was. This is that's amazing.
I know,
That's fucking amazing.
and there's the
I,
TV with the fucking.
but I even went and made sure that I had that camera today because I had that one time. And
Mhm.
so uh when I was moving around all my shit to have a microphone, here
Mhm.
you go. I don't know if that shit. I hope that doesn't fuck. Does that fuck everything up?
Oh no,
Oh,
I don't know.
you have to say okay. I think.
Wait for what?
Oh, to have my I have turned my camera on Discord. Unless you prefer to
Oh,
just have our faces.
oh, I thought oh, there it is. There's your face. I was gonna say I don't have my
Hey,
I didn't have my
I mean,
light set
and
up.
I don't mean to like I hope I don't pressure you into.
Oh no, man! I didn't have my lights set up, so
Yeah,
I was
I had.
unprepared for this. I'm so used to
It
the.
was like and because I also have to unhook the camera from OBS before anything.
Mhm.
So that was one of the reasons that I have it here today. So
Neat.
hi. So
Hey.
what's up, internet? All right. Hey,
Mhm.
does this start at 5 or 5:30?
5:30. Did I say 5 on Twitter?
Yes, you did.
Fuck me.
All right. Okay.
Already making false promises. We're off to a good start this season.
Listen, I got a few. I did a little bit of thinking, and I got a little bit of an idea of a segment that we could do, and I'll pitch it to you.
Diff
But I
bud.
feel like you're on a roll, so I'm just
Oh no, bud. Hey,
right now.
we're here. We're on the couch. We're you're playing. We're looking at a what part of I'm not too familiar with Skyrim
Uh,
lore. Where are we with
yeah,
this?
I don't really know, but that fort over there is called Fort Amol,
Fort
and
Amol.
they're lightning wizards. I got snuck up by one
I
and
I I
slain.
I saw that guy.
Yeah,
That
I
was
got
fun.
slain by a lightning wizard. Look,
I mean,
I'm doing the violin
you
today.
got the
That's where I'm
violin
at.
today. Dude,
Yeah.
the violin's gonna be a continual theme today for throughout
Hey, end of the
the
month,
show.
out of money. Me, 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 me.
It didn't like so happen to run into somebody that smoked cigarettes and like steal their lighter. Like that's what sucked when I quit smoking is that I lost my entire lighter income. Like I went from having like a freaking not garbage bag, a grocery bag full of freaking lighters to just having absolutely nothing left. And having to like light things off of the stove using a tissue.
I, oh shit, I've done shit like that.
Oh dude, I've been there. I've had the times where I've had to and you know what, man, is that you know what, now that I see this, is that that Steam sale still going on? Because I might pick up one of these games too.
I
I think I might.
feel like well, all right. I got two things.
Mm,
I feel as though the Steam sale was over yesterday at midnight.
fuck.
But if you're interested in this for any kind of Bethesda Fallout reason and stuff that we've been talking about,
Mm,
I am playing this on Xbox Game Pass for PC, which is $1 for your first month.
what?
So I'm playing this for $1.
Well, fuck. For a whole month? I don't know if I would be able to
And
get through all of that in a whole month.
well, it's nine
Yeah.
ninety nine after that.
That's yeah.
So it's I mean it's kind and it's a lot. I don't know if you've ever fucked with any of these video game uh I don't even know what to call them streaming services. This is not streaming what I'm doing, but
mm,
I mean, it really is kind of like having Netflix for video games, and 90% of them are bad, but you can play them for 10 minutes,
and
and
just
it's
say
ten
forget
bucks a
about
month.
it.
It's $10 a month for like a goddamn lot of games, is what I'm saying. I guess I'm not being paid to say this. This is
We
not an advertisement or an endorsement, but Yeah, Xbox Game Pass is pretty cool. I've had it on the Xbox and now I'm playing it on PC.
Commercial break in progress. Uh, oh, there's my tea. Awesome.
Oh, all right.
Got my green tea on, and I need to make. I always need to have like a random accumulation of drinks surrounding me.
I got a couple things. Yeah, I got a can of seltzer and a jug of water and a few things.
Is that the alcoholic or the non-alcoholic kind of seltzer?
This is the non-alcoholic kind.
Right on.
Yeah. This is black cherry. This is Bowl and Basket, which is like I think it's a ShopRite brand. I don't know if you
Shop
got
right.
ShopRite. That's kind of
I am familiar. Wait, shop right? No, I don't.
RITE.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't believe we have those here. No, but
Uh,
shit, I can't believe that I wrote five. I could have sworn I wrote down 5:30 today. Oh well.
well, it's okay. I mean, now it doesn't. Probably the most. If anyone was here, I mean, I was talking to you very. I don't know if you went live. You probably went live a little bit after 5, but I mean, it's. I think. I
It's
think it's probably okay.
potato potato. I'm not breaking too
Yeah.
many hearts. I hope.
I hope not.
I usually write 5:30. And I'm always like the one to like triple check. Okay, I wrote everything correct. This looks okay, and then it gets sent, and I still send it wrong. uh, where is? And I also should probably inform my folks start coming in. All right.
Yo, what's up, Jay Swizzy? I've never played this game before. I haven't even grinded upon it.
Yo, that was a good shot.
Thank you. These guys have been messing me up.
Let me make sure I got my notes in order here. We're gonna
All right.
make sure we're copacetic. Um, oh,
VR, yeah, I would love to play a lot of things in VR.
I heard the VR was not that bad.
Yeah, I heard that people really liked VR Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really I played a VR game that was like a very tame horror game, and when the scary thing happened, I tore that helmet off of my head. I freaked out. It was so real and scary and in my face. It was, yeah. Uh I got frightened.
I got frightened,
I got fucking frightened for real.
man.
See, it's not even her that's seeing me. Oh no. Anyway, Jay Swizzy, what's up? I'm talking to my friend Thrash Keshu. We do a thing where we talk about shit on Tuesdays around 5:30. Uh which is almost right now. We're about to do this is the cold open.
Mm.
I hope you're doing good, Jay Swizz.
Yeah, welcome, Jay
Oh,
Swizz. 360 no
and
scope.
everybody. Very bad. Very this is just shit. I'm getting shit on.
I'm getting shit on.
I'm getting super duper shit on. I'm gonna fucking die. I don't have any healing potion or yeah. These guys have been shitting on me.
Just shit it on
Getting shit on.
him.
I did man, I came sneaking in. I slew like 3 of them the first time and then one of them this one was too full frontal. I'm supposed to be sneaky. I can't sneak. I sneak for shit. I've put in lots of points into sneak. I still sneak, but you know what? I think I stopped putting points into sneak and started putting them into shoot. But it looks like my shooting's pretty pissed too.
Hmm. You know what? I forgot what the. I don't know. There's like a particular move to make on. There's always like the one build is like the best like true build like when it comes to Bethesda games, and I always I had somebody explain to me what it was in this, but I don't remember
Like there's a
anymore.
good way to do Skyrim,
There's
a
a
correct
way
way,
a proper way to
a
Skyrim.
meta.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what the Skyrim meta is.
Uh oh. Okay. Now my stuff's updated. Perfect. But yeah, I have no idea either. I'm not I haven't been that much into it. I still don't even know what the Fallout meta is, and I've been playing that game for a bajillion years.
At some point, I mean, you know what the thing really about VR is that like not a lot of I got one friend who's like into it and he hasn't really forced me to get into it. Almost everything takes someone forcing me to get into it because I certainly, especially if there's any kind of investment in getting into it. That's not the I'm not the kind of guy that tries things. I'm fucking playing Skyrim for the first time fucking 12 years later or whatever. You know, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll play Skyrim VR when someone slaps that thing on my face and makes me do it.
You know what, dude? I have a VR headset. It's pretty
Oh,
alright. It's it's novel. It's not the coolest thing on the planet, but
sure.
it's neat.
Yeah, I would certainly say that. I have played some cool things.
Hmm.
I played a cool Heroes Quest thing in VR. That then the only cool thing about it was being able to like lean over the board and move the pieces around and like actually play a which is I mean it's you know it's cool. It's different than a board game because the pieces are little moving orcs and shit.
Little orcs and shit. Uh,
Not the coolest thing on the planet, but gets the work done, sure. Yeah, you know, little animated wizards throwing fireballs.
little anime wizards throwing fireballs. Oh man, I haven't watched a good fantasy anime in a minute. The last one, I guess, like it's more of an isekai, but like the last one was Sword Art Online. I think it was the last quote unquote fantasy anime that I watched.
I yeah, I I don't know if well definitely an isekai. Is there an H in that word?
Uh, uh, I-
Isekai?
Isekai,
Uh
Isekai.
yeah, I don't know if no game no life is fantasy,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's definitely isekai.
I haven't watched that one yet. Is it any good?
It's all right. Gets the job done. Not the greatest thing in the world. The necromancer build, sure. I mean, is that like oh, is that I don't even know if that's like something that there's like a tree for or if it's just a build that or if that's something people I cannot there is no way I can over exaggerate how much I don't know anything about this game at all.
I,
Yeah.
you know what?
That's the neuromancer build that Weebs is talking about. Conjuration. Okay, what's up, PT Kata? What's up, everybody?
Welcome, gang.
Hope
Welcome.
everyone's chilling. We're talking to Thrash Keishu.
And I was gonna say, yeah, I'm good to
Yeah, where
roll
you
here
at?
if you're ready to go.
Awesome.
All right, let's do this, Jazz.
Everyone, check out, of course, Thrash Keishu, who I'm now going to shut up and hand the imaginary microphone to.
Imaginary microphone. Well, you know, again, yeah, no, not a big deal. This is, a discussionary, show. It is a talk
A cautionary discussionary.
show of sorts. Yes. So yeah, no need to hand the mic, man. I'm just gonna go through a couple of emceeing, things.
Yeah.
First of all, greetings, salutations. How goes it, everyone? Welcome back to the new season of Thought That Was Weird.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
quote unquote.
Oh
All
yeah.
right, we're doing that. Are we still doing that?
That's it. This is season 2. This is the season premiere.
This
Check it
is.
out. Look at that link. It's very funny. I'm very amused by what I'm watching, which is not what anyone watching this stream is watching. Thank you for being here. I should have a link. I should be able to hit exclamation point multi. But anyway, check out Thrash. Thank you for watching me. Both things are true from the bottom of my heart. Uh,
Mm,
here we go.
all right. So today, so first of all, I want to make this. Hey, Heat and Sip, thank you so much for following. Appreciate it,
Yeah,
boss.
yeah, yeah.
Right on. So, so first of all, most of my any other languages that I can speak, uh, well, I don't know why I started off like that. The only other language I can speak is German, and
Okay.
but and like the occasional like nitpicky words of like French, like I know that TT means head, but that's it. Um,
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
but like so don't butcher me, out there, internet or France. Like just don't come at me with your ire for my terrible pronunciation of your language, your very beautiful language. I sincerely apologize. It shall be butchered this evening
Oh boy.
because
I'm glad
there's
our
a lot
friend Boisvert is nowhere to be found.
there's a lot of French.
He'll be
There's
very upset when he hears this episode.
there's so much French, and I sincerely apologize. But so first starting off today, we will be discussing uh I hope again I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. In French, La Séquestrée de Poitiers, Blanche
Mhm.
Monnier. Blanche Monnier uh, was a French socialite back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Um, well, excuse me, late 1800s, and uh, was basically considered. Well, you know what? I guess we can't really tell this story here. So I gotta I forgot. We also gotta hop on our time machine. So why don't we go back
Oh boy, all right.
to France 1901. Uh, Despite the fact that there's an Eiffel Tower and we're both mimes. So
Uh oh my god.
so
Hey, what's this show called?
oh yeah. Oh, this is thought that was weird, right?
Great. Yeah, awesome.
Something
Just
like
making
that.
sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
excuse me, I forgot to do proper introductions. Thrash K Shoe right here, and then over to screen left of me is Mr. CuyaDK.
What's up?
Man, excuse me, I'm all
Who's
these
this
info.
lady?
So this right here is Blanche Monnier. So Blanche
Wait, did
Monnier.
you introduce yourself? I
Uh,
didn't.
oh,
I keep interrupting you. This is
Oh,
all my
oh,
fault.
oh, oh, you're
I'm the
good.
problem. It's
You're
me.
fine, dude. Yeah, I introduced myself. I'm Thrash Keishu. If just in
Okay.
case I didn't, just make sure.
Now I don't know what's going on.
Let's punch it home. I got this name is ridiculous, so I got to make sure that people know what it is. Um, so uh, so yes, this is Blanche Monnier. So Blanche Monnier was a socialite back in like the like 1880s or so. So
Okay.
she came
In
from a
France,
very and this is France in Poitiers, France.
do you have any croissants?
No, but you know what?
Uh, can you
It
pass the escargot?
no, but if you give me 2 seconds, hold on. I was actually hoping to make this a an alert like a chat alert thing
Oh,
or channel
sure.
point thing, but it turns out that I can't do that yet. So instead, I'm just gonna do this anyway. So here, have a baguette. You know, I'm passing that over to you. uh,
Yeah, I did not know about any of this. I didn't.
I've
I
been
didn't set him up. I did not intentionally. I did not know
no
I was going to be handed a baguette.
No,
I didn't know about any of this. This is awesome. Very good job.
dude. Again, man. I've been wanting to have some fun with this. So,
I'm
but
glad.
but
I'm
but
glad you're. I'm glad you're having fun.
but but yeah. Well, here, let me put this baguette away, and we'll save that for later.
Just yeah,
Um,
stash the baguette.
we'll
I'll
we'll,
be
we'll,
hungry after this.
we'll stash it behind the television over here, and plus we're both holding umbrellas, so we can't necessarily, break it
Hard to
apart
eat.
right now. It's gonna be hard to eat, with one hand.
I
But
don't have. I need some brie and butter to go with the
uh,
baguette.
that'd be fantastic, dude. I wish I had that. Now that one I didn't set up for, but I wish I did.
Oh man, if a piece of brie came out right now, I would shit my pants. That's,
Damn it, me
that's
without the brie.
and with
Uh,
no brie to show.
um, so that's just to give an introduction to this woman, um, I'm not, and unfortunately, this woman was met with some very severe circumstances in her life, and her life gets bumpy. It gets really, really bumpy, and it gets really
Okay.
fascinating. But we're gonna start off later in her life, and we'll start at in 1901. So
All right.
this is 1901 Paris. Obviously, this Eiffel Tower shouldn't be here yet, but it's
No,
there.
this is early.
Yeah, it's early. We got it as an early birthday gift from Dad. He was cool with it. He was cool with it. So he
Who's
said,
Prince's dad?
Belgium. No, that's
Really?
probably that's the other way around. I'm sure, or something like that. I don't know. I'm gonna offend so many Europeans today,
I have no idea
but
what
fuck
the
it. It's
Eiffel
a world.
Tower is or why. I heard a lady got married to it.
I've heard plenty of a lady got married to the Eiffel Tower.
I think I heard something like that.
Dude, that's wild. I've never heard about that. I've heard about people marrying like national landmarks. I think there is a woman that's married to the Yosemite Geyser, Old Faithful, but I'm not entirely certain. But I've heard of this before, and it's ridiculous. But that's wild, dude. She got married to the Eiffel Tower. Unfortunately,
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Who fucking knows?
unfortunately, this woman does not get married to the Eiffel Tower. Although I'm sure she was she probably did. Um, so 1901 France. You have uh, four very official looking men basically uh, converging upon this home in the middle of this fancy little riverside town of Poitiers, which is like,
Okay.
gorgeous, beautiful, mansions, blah blah blah, high society, flute and art, all that jazz. Uh, it's also a time of like a bunch of real political struggles within France's government. A lot of schisms have occurred. A lot of people are fighting over like basically nothing really. It's like they're fighting over shit, but they're not really fighting over anything really that important. It seems, but I digress.
Okay.
They're just
There's not
swap.
a world war going on.
Well,
There's not, there's not a big serious.
no, it's
Or
just
wait,
that
is there? What year did we? This was 1900 something, right?
1901. No,
Okay,
that's
okay,
not
yeah.
for
So
another.
it's kind of the time of relative. I mean, I don't. I'm not a history.
Neither am
Uh,
I.
I'm not a history.
According to the sources that I've obtained for this segment, which by the way, oh goodness, I'll have the link those in the YouTube video when we're done with this. But yeah, I
Awesome.
yes, because I do want to give
That's a good
credit.
policy.
I like to give credit where credit's due with the videos that I found that inspired me to discuss these things.
Sure.
This one, I think it was a random Reddit post again. And we'll get into the picture of the really famous picture of Blanche Monnier, which isn't this picture that we're looking at right now.
Okay.
But so again, back in 1901, a handful of really official-looking gentlemen converge upon this really fancy mansion. owned by the Monnier family, and they knock on the door, and they state that that well, the first person that enters states that he is the chief superintendent uh, of the police for the city of Poitiers, and he demanded to, and that it was on good accord from an anonymous tip that um, Blanche Monnier here was in severe trouble and needed help.
Okay.
Eventually, her mother, by the way, Louise Monnier, matriarch of the family, at this point is the only living parent to Blanche, and sole caretaker of the home. Has housemaids, but basically, yeah, she and we'll get into her a little bit later. But she relents to these guys and allows them to proceed into her home. Her home is pristine, mind you. This is a very gorgeous mansion. Like, every the tables are set, everything's waxed and wiped down and cleanly. And yet, in this house, there's an unbearable odor that
Okay, great.
nobody seems to be that nobody can seem to figure out. So the police are like starting to gag at this point, and they proceed a little bit further into the house until they reach Blanche's room. And that is where the smell is overwhelming and powerful. Like they can barely contain themselves.
Oh, okay.
And it's at this point that a man jumps out. It is her brother, Marcel Monnier, who basically pleads to the police to please leave his sister be and, end this investigation. And it's at this point that we are going to go to the beginning of this
Oh
whole
boy.
story.
Okay.
So, the Monnier family, like we'll start back at the back in I believe it's like the 1700s, 1600s. The Monnier family goes back in Poitiers, France. You know, years. They were like the some of the founding families of one of the founding families of this town. Um, although that's much to you know their own you know history, but a lot of people like contest how much they actually were involved. Oh, my notes disappeared. Come back, notes. I need you. uh, so you have these two folks, Louise Monnier, who is Blanche's mother, and
Okay.
Emile Monnier, who's her father. So Emile is the like most he's a scholar. He's a very highly held scholar. He teaches at a really prestigious boarding school in the town of Poitiers to like really rich families. And all the while he has his very miserly wife, Louise. Louise is a was known throughout the town to be a very bitter woman. Let me see here. Was known in the town as shrewd, cheap, and constantly flaunted her wealth. Was referred to as severe. Uh,
Okay.
was also known to like if there were like local charities asking for things that she would promptly turn them away. Uh, where did they go? Okay, so eventually Luis and Emile get married, and they have their first child, Marcel. And then a few years later, they had Blanche. Now, Blanche eventually grew up again, as I said, to be and again, multiple sources state that she was considered to be one of the most beautiful women in all of Poitiers, like with gorgeous hair, laser stunning eyes, like bombshell. Like couldn't do
Yeah.
any better in Poitiers. And yet she never wanted to. She had many suitors, but never actually found one to which she wanted to marry. Until one day, she meets a young gentleman whose name to this day is actually unknown, which
All
is
right.
very interesting, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But oh, and also before we even get into her meeting this guy, right before she went and apparently started being courted by this man, uh, she had a real deep, devotion to Christianity, to the point
Okay.
that she wanted to go join a nunnery.
Okay.
She wanted to go to a convent, and apparently the convent had told her that she was too thin to join the convent, but that she would be welcome if she gained some weight, which is
Okay.
a very bizarre thing. But
The
you know,
French like their nuns a little,
a
to
little,
have a little meat on
yeah, I guess.
them.
You want
You want a nice thick French nun.
you want a
That's
you want a
that's what
nice
you want.
squishy nun,
It's like a squishmallow.
like a nice
That's the kind
fluffy
of
one.
nun you don't. Jesus Christ.
You don't want no skeleton nun.
No. No.
That's gross. Um, so in Blanche on multiple occasions said she wanted to pursue joining a convent. Um, and continue this kind of dissuades her. After her dejection, she just kind of dissuaded her from pursuing it further. And so then she meets this mystery guy. And again, mystery dude is like unknown to time. Like multiple people
No one
have
knows what. Yeah.
nobody knows who this cat is. Despite the fact that multiple people have tried to debunk who it was. Um, so it was said this man was to be 4 years older than her, was a lawyer, was pretty much
Ooh.
penniless, was in a lower like class than her family was.
Penniless lawyer.
Uh-huh. And apparently was absolutely enamored with her as she was with him. And it's this great love story. He, you know, says that he's gonna whisk her away and start a family, all that jazz. It eventually comes down
That's what they
to
always say.
that's what they always say until the parents get involved. Because here comes Blanche telling mom, "Hey, I met this guy," and then she's like, "No, you didn't." And that was basically it. She continually tried to convince her mother to allow him to marry her, and mom doesn't have it. Eventually, the mother just flat out cuts her, like basically scolds her and tells her that she would never ever be able to marry this man, no matter how many times she asked.
This unknown penniless
This
lawyer
unknown
man.
penniless lawyer she will never marry, and she is promptly put into her bedroom and locked away, as in like locked, like door locked.
Period.
Period.
That's it.
That's it.
That okay.
Flash
And
for
this was what year?
and this was sometime excuse me, in my events here. So it was said that this was around 1874
Oh
when
my God.
this girl was locked away, or this woman was locked away. Excuse me, she was a grown 27-year-old woman.
27. Jesus Christ.
Hmm. Oh, and it's as it always does with this show. It gets so
Oh
much better.
boy. Okay. All right. I'm into it.
So, and we'll talk about this picture in a moment. So, Q, um,
Is that the famous picture or?
this is one of the famous pictures, but I don't know why
Okay.
I ended up clicking on that picture when I meant to click on oh goodness, where did that other picture go? Uh, it was that picture. I must have lost the other picture. Damn it. Oh wait, there it is. This one. It's a nice little pretty picture there.
Okay.
Yeah, just another picture of her. So she was locked away, and according to most sources, she was locked away for 25 years.
Yeah, if they found her in 1901.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gee. I mean, if you said 1974, that's 27 years. I mean,
Well,
1874.
I mean, give or take the months, but yeah, you're absolutely
Sure.
right. Like,
Yeah.
give
That's a
yeah,
long anyway. That's a fuck.
that's an amazing long time. So she is locked away and told that she's never to see her lover again for 25 years. So Q, fast forward to these cops at the door. They're about to break in this woman's
1901.
in 1901. They were about to
Okay.
break in this woman's door, and what it's come down to is again her brother's pleading like, please do not open this door. We beg you,
Her
do not
brother's
open the
her
door.
brother is 55 or 60 years old.
Yeah, and she's like somewhere 51, 52.
Yeah. Yep.
So eventually the police, get him out of the way. They open the door only to find this woman.
Oh my god. Uh y-
Yep.
you ever see um Pet Cemetery?
Oh yeah, I've seen Pet
Okay.
Cemetery.
Yeah. Is that her? Is that what became of her?
That is what became of her. She
Jesus.
uh
Good God.
oh, and actually even before that, I almost completely forgot. There's another real important part of this, another little mystery portion
This
to this whole
chronicle.
story. So rewind a little bit to again, this was like uh uh goodness, like October of 1901. So May 23rd, 1901. Or excuse me, this was the 24th that this happened. This happened the next day. May 23rd, 1901, an anonymous letter is received by uh, the city of Poitiers attorney general. It is signed with like um, extreme distress and stating that a quote unquote spinster, half starved and living in putrid litter for the past 25 years, is living in this house or living in the Monnier family home. Uh, the attorney general immediately drops what he's doing and pursues an investigation into this, which leads to the people at the door, which leads to them breaking into this woman's room to find that it is completely covered in feces, in
Yep.
bits of food. There's oh my goodness, there's um, oyster shells all over the place. The floorboards have rotted from all the feces on the floor.
Oh, good
Rats have
God.
infested the walls. Um, there were two open gashes in the walls that led straight outside where the rats were getting
Oh
in.
my God.
All the windows were boarded shut. Well, not boarded shut. They were like barred shut. Excuse me. Um, and yeah, these windows were boarded shut. She had not seen daylight in a handful of years. Her bedspread was noted as being um, rotted straw,
Ugh.
and like the bed was basically rotted straw, and her sheets were basically caked in her own feces and food
Uh,
items and so forth.
very upsetting.
Yes, she had a mat in her hair, about a meter long, that was also completely covered in excrement and other things. This woman lived in absolute agony. Um,
This is an extremely upsetting story.
it's petrifying. It is absolutely petrifying. Let's see here. Uh, there was writing all over the walls, apparently written with her own feces. Uh, there was a Virgin Mary on the mantle on the fireplace. Uh, one officer said that there was enough bugs to fill a jar. Um, Most of the inscriptions on the walls were pretty indecipherable, but one was noted as saying, "Make beauty, nothing of love or freedom, always solitude. One must live and die in jail all one's life."
What? Do you think that she wrote that on the wall or mom did?
No, it was written. No, she was the one who wrote on the walls with her own feces and food scraps.
Good God.
Hmm. Um, it is immediately after this discovery that the police go and arrest Louise Monnier.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and, and, oh, and excuse me, I almost forgot. So, well, I guess we'll go back to that in a minute. So they immediately arrest Louise Monnier and Marcel Monnier on charges of torture and oh god, what was that other charge? It was I really liked the way that it was worded. Uh, criminal confinement.
Oh yeah. This is the Confined Woman of Paris. Is that the name of this?
The
Is that the name of this episode?
the confined woman of Poitiers. Yes.
Ah yes. Sorry.
Oh yeah, yes. But
We're
you
in
know you're
Paris
close.
with the
Wait,
Eiffel
wait.
Tower.
But
That's
hey man, the you know what? Expedia
I'm not critiquing the yeah.
hey dude, you know what? The time machine like follows Expedia rules. The cheaper flight,
Oh
we take
sure. Yeah,
we
yeah,
take the
yeah,
cheapest flight. Sorry. uh, there's also no royalty free pictures of Portier anyway, or at least any that I could find. Um, so upon further investigation, it turns out the police like dig deeper and deeper into this whole mess of a story, and a lot of people in in town knew that she was captive in her room,
yeah.
or
Oh.
but didn't say anything because it was said that she had gone mad, or that
Sure.
mm, or that but again we'll get into that in a moment.
Okay.
So again, like this like spreads like wildfire throughout the entirety of Europe, even into the United States. It's a huge honking story. It's a big deal. Uh, I'm trying to figure out a way to explain this. They, it was such a big deal that it basically, within the translations between what French historians know to be the story of of a, I'm clicking up things of Blanche Monnier here.
Yeah.
Uh, there's one story that French historians know about Blanche Monnier, and there's stories that were basically derived from the storytelling of reporters and small novelists or people that were writing true crime within that time period.
Sure.
So this story has been consistently changed and you know tossed around different ways. So again, at the point that I say that,
For 120 years.
yeah, and so the point of me saying this is that um there's so much testimony between Luis Monier's explanation of events, Marcel Monier's explanation of events. Uh, Frankly, uh, Blanche didn't necessarily talk about the circumstances, nor was she ever really quite socially capable of doing so after this whole, you know, torturous
Yeah.
event. So,
Jesus God.
mhm, uh, yeah, she couldn't. Yeah, she didn't really have a chance to, you know, really
Tell her
tell her
side of the
side of the
story.
story. Except
Oh
she,
my
she was
God.
basically like. So I guess we'll jump to the conclusion of this. So basically, what happens is you have
God.
Marcel Monnier goes on trial. Now, mind you, really quick, um, Marcel Monnier is a doctor at law, and um, as much as he was a you know very considered to be prestigious man in within his class in society, he uh, he failed pretty poorly with money. So he was fairly dependent on his mother's wealth, and he actually lived
Okay.
directly across the street from his mother. And it was actually him.
Oh, I expected him to be living in the house with her
Oh no,
in the
he was dead.
ancestral
He was
inn.
dead across the street because
Okay.
he had married and had a child, and they had owned that property, and they ended up just moving into there. But it was funny. He was a character, and he was a disgusting motherfucker too.
Sounds like it.
Oh, yeah, and it runs in the family, and this is why it gets interesting. So, for one, he guilted his mother for not getting him a New Year's gift when, quote unquote, at a time more than ever, we must show we are not a family of poor wretches.
Oh man. Oh boy. Wow.
I know. What a,
This guy had his priorities straight.
yeah, he partied with a bunch of wealthy people very often. Uh, was noted as being myopic. Uh,
Okay.
According to
Short-sighted.
yes, very much so. Uh, According to house staff, his home was absolutely filthy. Uh, they weren't ever allowed to really clean too much. They were mostly there to cook. Uh, and the even more disgusting thing is that Marcel wouldn't just leave his chamber pot like under his bed or in another room. He brought his chamber pot everywhere with him and left it in the middle of the room. And
This was just a poop house.
this was a fan
This should have been called episode 2 or season 2 episode 1. Poop house.
season 2 episode 1 2.
Yeah.
uh yeah, yeah, they both suffered from a psychological disorder known as. So it turned out later that both Marcel and Blanche suffered from a, a psychological disorder known as coprophilia, which means that they derive sexual pleasure from feces.
Oh.
Um, in
Who
particular,
who I just keep going. Okay. All right, I'm with
yeah,
you.
dude.
Okay.
Again, it's
I'm
wild.
here. I didn't even. We didn't set any of this up. I didn't know this was literally going to be poop house.
It's totally poop house, dude.
Okay.
It
All right,
is
here
like the entire home,
we are. Oh
like the
boy.
mom side of the house was totally fine, but anything that they
Mom was
touched,
okay.
it although apparently she was quite filthy herself, but she at least let her maids clean up after her. Apparently, the only clean one in the family was Emil, and Emil passed away in like 1980 or in 1883 or something like that.
And
S
then things went to shit.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, Marcel was a gross motherfucker. Uh, so him and his mother are both, arrested and brought up to trial. For the first week that Louise Monnier is in jail, she's in the jail's infirmary, uh, being
Yep.
noted as having been absolutely exacerbated by the whole situation and stressed out. She recovers after that first week, uh, gives a little bit of testimony to police about the situation, to which she states, um, oh, and excuse me, she was also 75 years old at the time when she was arrested. So, not a
Yeah,
very big
sure.
surprise that she was suffering this badly
Right.
in
Just
confinement.
yeah, good god.
Uh, but she stated, "Never did I think of confining my daughter, whom I love so much."
That was her statement, huh?
That was her statement on the whole situation. And the other very interesting statements that she also had made were that Blanche never had any suitors, let alone and did she ever show any interest in wanting to get married. So it ends up being this like he said she said thing as it pertains to whether or not like when mentioning the penniless lawyer, Louise Monnier had no idea what people were talking about when they asked her about it while she was still living. To which, excuse me, I kind of spoiled that. A week after that testimony, she ends up falling ill again, and on her deathbed, cries out, "My poor Blanche," and dies on June 7th, 1901, from
What
stress,
the
dude, from
fuck?
heart failure caused by stress.
From being in jail,
Hmm.
almost poetic.
Mm. Well, it gets even more interesting. Is that Flash, trial still goes on. You can't charge Louis Monnier posthumously, so you've got Marcel Monnier basically eating every last charge that is happening,
Okay.
for the situation. Despite the fact that he didn't live in the home, he just knew of the situation. But again, most of the town people knew about it, which is even more disturbing to that factor. So, going back to the penniless lawyer thing. So there's also different, again, I've listened to a handful, and it's not to. I'm not trying. I'm desperately, desperately, sincerely not trying to sound sexist about when I state this, but I've listened to a lot of like wine and murder podcasts sort of things about this story, and it's like
Okay.
this woman had a lover that she wasn't allowed to love, and therefore was put in her room for years. Listen to this heart wrenching tale, sponsored by Lifetime.
Okay.
So yeah, I think the overhyping of the love story is overshadowing what could possibly be the more the more probable rational occurrence in this situation. So
Locked up for being a poop monster.
pretty much. But it's beyond that. And in all honesty, and again, I'm not saying that that this woman deserved the tortures that
Of
she
course not.
had
Oh my
wrought for
god.
herself.
This is
But
I
but
this
but
is what this is
but
horrifying.
here's the thing though. So and again,
Live.
this is where it gets like it's this gigantic mystery. Again, why I say that, like everybody says, like oh, the star-crossed lovers that were never meant to be sort of thing. Yet in and again, I don't necessarily know how like it worked for, housing servants in, the 1900s in France, but most of the
Okay.
housing staff between uh Marcel Monnier as well as Louise Monnier, who had taken care of Blanche, including one woman who is known to have been the one to quote unquote calm her down when she would have fits, um,
Okay.
was noted as saying that for one, like a handful of things that were really interesting that were noted in this case. For one, the doors to her room were never locked. She was always welcome to come and go freely as she wished.
Oh,
According, and
wow.
even the police stated that they didn't actually have to break down the door; that the door was actually unlocked and open. So it is also said by this house staff that, and again, I don't know what the thing is with like house staff and like where if they talk bad about their really
Sure.
rich people,
Right. Yeah.
that they're gonna get offed or something like that. So I can't necessarily speak to that, but you know the housing staff stated that Blanche willingly lived like this in her own filth and everything else.
They both just
They
no
they
one wasn't they both just loved being filthy.
well they basically like the other family member besides Marcel, Monnier being, the coprophiliac that he is along with his sister. So they're both sexually attracted. Like the filth is both appealing to them. So let alone like if you look at the housing situation that Marcel was in, it's similar. It's just that Blanche took it to the next level. He was it was like it's like that bad meme. It was just like uh,
Hold my beer.
amateurs. Like here's Blanche Monnier turning around at the coprophiliac table, going amateurs,
Yes.
sort of thing. And that's again, and
Jesus Christ.
the mystery lies in both the test in these testimonies, because again, reports say one thing. The testimony of the family um and excuse me, the testimony of the housemaids. And again, it's not to say like oh the woman was mad that she didn't need to be denounced. So what happened with her was she. So again, where I got the whole star-crossed lovers story was from this really beautiful, like this, at least tried to be beautiful, like docu story about her.
Okay.
And it was called what was it called, How Lovely It Is, was the name of the documentary. uh so and that was the story about the star-crossed lovers and all that jazz. So it turns out that again, besides you know the house staff also stating that she wasn't really like getting suitors very much, let alone wasn't like seeking to marry anybody. um they also noted that she, at a certain point in 1872, was uh dealing with like a fever of some sort.
Oh.
And shortly after this fever began acting very strangely, she began saying that she was so weak that clothing was too much for her to have on her body. So she would basically prance around her bedroom like butt naked with her windows open. And it was apparently right up the street from a boarding school. So all the boarding school boys would go walking past just to go look at Blanche getting dressed in the morning. Yeah. So,
Uh,
and she would also apparently go out into her garden in just an overshirt and wear no pants. And apparently, people would come out and gawk at her in doing this the entire time. So eventually, in it was around. So again, the story goes that like it was around the time that like the penniless lawyer like came a court, and that the family was like we're shutting this down. You're shut into the house. Well, according to most people, it initially started with that, and it was more Emile Monnier, her father, was would bar the windows because people were peeking into her window while she was changing,
Oh,
and he did
okay.
limit her time outside, despite the fact that she began not wanting to go out as much. But again, it's this fine line of like of testimonies that it makes kind of a very interesting mystery, that as much as like people have these definitive ideas of what was actually said about it, but the reality, or not the reality, excuse me, like we don't know the reality of it. It's basically the kind of
Yeah, we
interesting
really
thing.
don't. And
We have
it sounds like there's a lot of, oh my God.
There's a lot of underlying things to it that people seem to consistently ignore or forget, especially pertaining to the fact that she was mentally ill before she even met the penniless lawyer, quote unquote,
The
even
penniless lawyer who,
that
boy,
didn't exist.
boy, what a forgotten piece of history.
Yeah, again, to the point that like
Unknown penniless lawyer.
unknown penniless lawyer. Yeah,
Crazy.
uh, yeah. So nobody necessarily knows the whole truth about this story, but it is said that it was around um this time that Marcel Monnier met a woman and began dating her, and in 1872, excuse me, and then in 1874 they Marcel and his wife get married, or his fiance get married, and it was shortly after this that it was noted by Louise Monnier. I'm trying to see if I can find the date again. She basically she basically flat out said in like that, like gave the flat date of when her daughter like started like going nuts and hiding in her room, basically, and living in her own filth. Louise Monnier basically said that like in 1872, it was around the time that she started like getting the fevers and stuff like that, and then it was 1874 that her brother got married, and that is when she started shutting herself off from the world.
So she was sad that he was married, or did
That's
he
that
secretly marry her?
well,
Who
well,
was it?
well, well,
Who was his wife? Do we? What do we know about the wife?
not that much that I
We
know
don't think
about.
that he secretly married her, and they
No,
both went insane together.
but I do have a little conspiracy
Because,
theory about
all right,
that
yeah,
sort of
let's
thing.
hear it.
Considering
Okay,
that they're both coprophiliacs.
covered in poo.
So Marcel Monnier also really, and besides like just having his chamber pot on full display, that was not the most disgusting part of it. The more disgusting part was is that he would keep it filled, like
Yeah, carry it around. Like, look.
to the brim, like when you're
Oh.
carrying an ice cube tray to the fridge, that full. Like that much. And he would apparently, out of his own sexual gratification, would go to his wife's room, leave his chamber pot on her nightstand so she could quote unquote know the smell well.
Oh. The
Like
family scent.
the family scent. So I have this conspiracy theory that Marcel, because he couldn't act out, and because there's also no way um to
Have
test
any
for like
idea what was going on?
well, there's no way
Oh,
to test for like rape or sexual assault or something like that
sure.
against her, against Blanche. So
Yeah.
there's there's I had this theory that he was assaulting her and making her live in her own filth in that room for his own
Boy, this
gratification.
one just gets worse and worse.
Yeah. Well, again, that's just that's just a theory on my end. That has nothing to
This
do with
just gets
actual
worse
fact.
and worse.
But yeah,
What's up, Dave? Welcome to season 2, episode
number
1 of
two,
Thought That Was Weird. Number 2.
season
Episode 1, number
number
2
two,
house.
the number two house.
This is the worst story you've told me yet, I think.
Really,
I
man?
I mean I would have to I don't have them all cataloged.
I'm shocked that the Shinrikyo one wasn't the worst, but that's yeah, this
A
is a
lot
pretty
of
bad
people
one.
a lot of people I mean that was a terrorist attack, right? So I
Yeah,
mean
that yeah that was a big one.
obviously that's worse.
No, I don't know why I taught. I'm not trying to
Yeah, we're not.
toss you to the
It's
wolves
not a
here.
contest.
It's not a
Let's do a
contest about
tier
what's
list.
worse.
We got to go back for season 1 and do the tier list. That's one of the Tuesday episodes. I'll lead it.
Dude, that'd be
I'll
great.
I'll prepare.
The most pet like the
So
worst of the worst.
that's my first one that I'm gonna bring for this season. It's gonna be awful. Oh my god.
Oh, that would be fun. But
So many awful houses we talked about.
oh yeah, plenty of awful houses.
Yeah,
So
worst houses.
and it's
It'll
not
be the
even
house tier list.
it's not even done yet. So uh so going back to Blanche was brought into the hospital weighing 55 pounds,
Jesus.
not including the 4.5-pound mat that was hanging off the back of her head.
Oh,
Yes. And despite the thoughts that like, having a woman that just, lived in her own mess and enjoyed living in her own mess, she according to doctors and nurse staff had no problem being cleaned.
so upset.
I know, I'm sorry. But again, there was some semblance of like happiness for her. She was cleaned up. She was found out to have a litany of disorders, including schizophrenia, uh,
Sure.
anorexia nervosa, um, and the coprophilia.
Coprophilia.
Yeah. Uh, but she's in
Can you
asylum.
spell that for me?
Copro,
Copra, huh?
coprophilia, or is it copra?
Co-
I thought
Copro. Oh, sorry. I didn't listen to the whole spelling.
copro. It's like cop, ROPHILIA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. Um. So there. So again,
Oh yeah.
yeah. There. So she basically ends up in asylum, and unfortunately, as much as she had some semblance of normalcy in that asylum, being able to go outside, go in the sun, and pick flowers, which was apparently one of her other favorite pastimes. She uh she apparently was also very gracious, very kind, never mean,
Wow.
uh, and was not mad at all at her mother about the situation that she was in.
Just had to get out of that poop room.
Had to get out of the poop room, man. But again, unfortunately, she died in asylum in October of 1913. And
Sounds like her brother was a bad guy.
her brother was a pretty
Sure sounds like it. If
and
she was if she was all like smiles and rainbows.
for the most part, as it was explained by other people. But and again,
Sure.
she was probably dealing with a lot of mental health issues that weren't being
Oh
addressed.
yeah.
And I think that's one of the really big things to talk about here is that like
But also possibly if she just needed help every day getting cleaned up and just wasn't receiving it.
Yeah.
Not even just that she wanted to be lying there in poo.
Well, and again, it, it's also again like a weird toss up between the testimony of the hospital staff versus what's being reported, or not the
Sure.
hospital staff, excuse me, the house staff,
The house
about
staff, right, 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 yeah.
how they said that she wanted to live in these sort of conditions. And again, as much as like you don't allow somebody to live in, you, as much as to say that, like, it's not um to exonerate what the parents or what her brother
Or
had done,
anybody,
or
yeah.
anybody for that matter
In
in the
this whole
situation.
horrible tale.
Exactly. Like, it's not to exonerate them, but again, nobody necessarily. Oh God, damn, that's a big dragon. Nobody necessarily knows, the true nature of what exactly happened. It's all been lost to
To
Marcel,
time.
to time,
To 120 years.
To
And
Marcel and
Marcel, yeah.
Marcel and the mom and Blanche.
God damn, man.
Yep. Uh, let's see. Oh, and here's a really interesting thing. So, and because I really like law. Law is very fascinating to me. I would never be
Okay.
a lawyer because I could never keep my law. Like I don't think I could keep. You know, for one, I don't think I could keep an even temperance as a lawyer.
Oh,
um,
sure. Okay,
um,
yeah.
yeah, but and let alone like having to help people that that are obviously guilty, as much as like they do deserve a fair trial. It's like, come on, man, I don't know, that just sounds rough. So what's interesting is that so Marcel again goes to trial, and uh he's found guilty of all the charges. And mind you, and here's the thing, here's the little wild card that everybody forgets about this guy, is that Marcel was a doctor at law. So he
Oh, yeah.
So this motherfucker goes and appeals and wins the case on a technicality that in France there's no law against somebody who knew of a
An
confinement,
imprisonment?
an imprisonment. There's no law that
No good Samaritan law regarding imprisonment?
nope. So he was set free to go, and he lived the rest of his days out in his dirty little poop house with his dirty little poop wife and his dirty little poop kid.
Good God. And we don't know too much about the poop wife or the poop kid.
I didn't. I actually did.
I'm not, if that's not something you research, that's fine.
That was something that I
Yeah.
didn't really pick up on. No, I've read a handful of things, and it was mostly the way that Marcel treated his wife. Never
Sure.
really about how he treated the kids or anybody else. Really,
Sure, yeah.
just mostly about the poop stuff. It was all about the poop stuff. But oh, and I also forgot I quoted this. So I found the judge's ruling. The internment or the confinement of Mademoiselle Monnier was necessitated by her mental condition. Was the court's ruling, which is, yeah,
So
fucked.
I may have I may have missed what you just I
Oh,
may have missed the punchline.
oh, uh, the internment or confinement of Mademoiselle Monnier was necessitated by her mental condition.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the whole thing is fucking terrible. Like,
hmm
good God.
oh, and the other thing I totally forgot to mention is that she was also had to be taught how to interact with, socialize with people again when she went to
Oh yeah,
asylum.
yeah. So I mean,
Uh,
she really was in isolation, no matter how much.
hmm
I mean, it really, God, it just. I don't
Yeah.
even. I'm not
No.
even gonna. I'm not even gonna weigh in on what really did or
Yeah,
did not happen, because no
no,
matter
because
what it was bad.
yes, no matter what it was everything horrible happened to this woman,
Yeah.
and she had to be taught how to use eating utensils in a chamber pot again. and again, like I also had this other theory about the possibility of there still being the unknown penniless lawyer.
Yes, the
So
penniless lawyer. Okay,
so
yeah.
so we now and again, we don't know where along the lines that Blanche picked up this coprophilia thing.
Sure.
Like whether her brother was forcing it on her or she was already interested before her brother was interested. Well, maybe both her and her brother were both interested in it, and never really talked about it. Talked about it a lot. Nobody necessarily
And
knows.
suddenly,
Suddenly poop stuff.
yeah.
Um, so I had this concept that there was the penniless lawyer, and that
Okay.
the poop thing was like Blanche's deep dark secret that she kept to herself, and eventually in 1874 comes clean to homeboy, and then because like he's like,
Oh.
fuck this, I'm out. And then
Okay.
she's like, well, you know, I now feel worthless, so I might as well live in the filth that I wish to be amongst. So might as well live
Ah.
the way that I wish to live. So fuck him, sort of a
Yeah,
thing.
just
Because
go in the spiral from
think about
there.
it, like if your fiance all of a sudden like you show up at her family door and they're like, oh, they initially said that she went missing.
Right.
Everything cool?
Uh oh yeah, no, my an alert from Instagram went off, and then for some reason I felt like I had to check what was on my schedule for tomorrow.
Oh, no worries, man.
That's all.
You just you looked really
Just
concerned.
stone. Yeah, no, that
Been
was
there, dude. But um, oh shit, what was I saying?
oh shit. I don't know.
I fucking forgot.
Uh,
It's okay. But
yeah,
again, at the end of the day, like they. Oh, so again, would eventually have to break it to homeboy that she's into the poop stuff, and
yes,
she
right.
just
Yeah,
lives
yeah.
amongst
You
her
were
own filth.
saying,
Yeah.
yeah. Then she collapses into the downward spiral of, well, if this is where it led me, and I
Hmm.
can't have the penniless lawyer, I guess let's just go into it.
It it reminds me sort of the story of
Let's just
the
live in poo then.
blowfly girl. Are you familiar with that story?
Oh, I mean, I immediately don't want to
You do
be.
not. In all
Is
honesty,
that? I mean,
this
just
is that's an easy
this is
TOS
not.
shit
That's not
thing.
a G. That's not a Junji Ito.
No, that is actually not a Junji Ito thing. That is actually
This isn't a real
the,
life
the
horror.
I will send you the link to it. Which by the way, shout out to Justin Wang for doing that video on YouTube. Holy cow! You ever follow that guy?
I don't
J-
think so.
Justin Wang, Whang.
It doesn't sound. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he
not. It doesn't ring a bell to me.
he does these like weird videos about like all the gross things that you wanted to know from like the gross things that you saw when you were a kid on the internet, like the origins
Okay.
of the two girls one cup story.
Rotten.com. Sure.
Rotten.com talked about that.
Okay.
um
Oh, okay. Sure. All the
you the
awful, awful, awful shit.
you the
The real bad traumatizing shit on the internet in the
you the man
beginning.
now dog and a handful of other things.
Oh, that wasn't. I mean, that wasn't. Was that
Wasn't too
gross?
bad. No, no, well,
That was.
he covers like
Did
all
it
the
go
he like
terribly wrong or something?
it. I think at some point it did. There was like a I have to rewatch. He did like a real in-depth video about it. It was super interesting. I wish I remember what it was, but
Yeah, I will check
it,
this guy out. It doesn't. I mean, it's very likely that I'll take a look at it and be like, oh yeah, I watched all of this guy's. This might be the reason I know about all these things.
but
But
yeah, Blowfly Girl. It would probably not be a story to
not
tell on
here.
Twitch. No,
Okay, wow, worse than Pooh House.
worse than Pooh. It's worse than Pooh House. I'll find you the Justin Wang video link and I'll send that to you.
Terrific.
But so just to make sure I covered all my notes here because yeah, like again, there was a lot of very interesting things to cover amongst all this nonsense. Like
This one has a lot. You picked a good one to lead
th-
off with.
this had a lot of
This
meat.
one's got twists and turns.
Oh man, does it ever. Um I definitely had a lot of fun, reading up on this. Not to say that I had fun reading about it, but I'd fun like doing the research about it because uh, I mean, in a time where like we take mental health so seriously in our era,
And
I
they
think
did. People didn't until.
yeah,
I
and
mean, I
the,
don't
the
even know if 50 years ago is
oh
probably
oh
not.
no, oh no, like fuck man, what was it? French women didn't have suffrage until the 1940s. So think about what the mental health,
Yeah, yeah.
issues were
People,
like there.
yeah.
And that was also another fun fact that I found out. I forgot who dished that fact. Again, I'm gonna make sure I list my the videos that I watched and all the cool
Oh,
YouTubers
when
I
yeah, you're.
all the wine murder mystery
Do they call that a
things you want.
bibliography? What when you list your sources, is that a bibliography
Yes, I believe it is. But I think it's only for like essays or like
or like a
books or
school report? But
yeah. Yeah, I need to do the FMLA, format for our
right, yeah,
shows
yeah,
now.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, that was the story of Blanche Monnier, the
Well,
secluded woman of Poitiers.
Jesus Christ, thank you for sharing. Uh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
I,
that's
I think I think I don't think I have much more to add to that.
nah. It's a
I
wild
think I
one.
said everything I had to say while we were talking about it. Because
Yep,
I mean, that's just these things happened more than we know. It's this is the what's unique about this is that we found out about it. I
exactly,
think. I think
exactly.
when we were talking about the Final Fantasy house,
Mm.
like I feel like there are just houses with dark energy with just awful shit going on inside them, and you never know which ones they are.
You you never know. It's like you never know who you're gonna come across in
Horrible
this
dark corners of suburbia and the fucking city and
the
everywhere
the
of the
French
fucking.
the French
Oh, there
Riverside.
was a and the French Riviera.
French Riverside. I don't know if it was. I don't know what the Riviera is.
What is the Riviera?
I have no idea. You know what?
You know,
solid question.
yeah,
I will read that. Let me see.
there's a movie called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels that takes place on the French Riviera. Martin Short and Michael Caine rob people.
Oh, the Mediterranean coastline of the southeast corner of France. There's no official boundary. Ah, okay. So it's basically the yeah southeastern France. It's the French Riviera.
So I'm gonna, yeah, I will. Obviously, this season I will prepare a couple topics and bring them. I
Yeah,
do
for
think
sure.
what episode that I will, I mean,
Hmm.
the preparing will probably mostly be me looking back at what we have from season one. I don't suppose you have any kind of list of what we did. I mean, I
I've
know
got.
that I'm like
I know we got.
unorganized.
I don't have I don't have
Be real
the
funny.
old
It's okay.
I don't have like the old VODs from
Sure.
not from Wax, but when oh god, what were we doing? We were doing I think it was the Final Fantasy House one where we talked where it was like before I could get access to a computer. So I don't even remember what the first one we had talked about was. I think
Man. Well, anyway,
I don't know. We
I do think ranking the worst stories. And I can definitely I mean
yes.
I off the top of my head if I actually not,
Mm.
not off the top of my head, but I'm sure if I sat down I could name
I,
20 of the things we talked about last year.
oh man.
So we would have some meat for that one. But I'll
Oh
definitely,
yeah, we'll have some
yeah,
fun
I will.
with it.
I'll definitely prepare a few topics to present this season for sure.
Sounds
And
fun.
as a matter of fact, do you would you like to wrap up? Do you have a few more minutes?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I got a few minutes. What's up?
I'd like to
Oh,
take
oh,
a break,
oh,
but I
oh,
want
oh,
to
oh,
come back and talk to you.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Go
I'm
do
gonna
your thing, and
pitch
then we'll
you. I'm gonna soft pitch you an idea for a segment that we could maybe do.
deal.
Maybe. Well, we'll talk about it.
Deal.
I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good.
Everyone on my stream, thank you so much. Exclamation point thrash! Exclamation point TTWW. The information is probably right there in chat. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be right back.
Actually, I'll be right back too.
Hi. Good. I was hoping that he would take a break too.
Sorry about that. Okay, let's see.
All right. What's going on?
What? Okay, but yeah, what's the pitch?
Okay. So this was something I've sort of was thinking about last year. Then I was kind of putting together my notes and preparing to do this maybe as a half an hour or an hour long show on like Thursdays.
Okay.
And now, when you were asking if I had any like ideas for either small or big things,
Mm-hmm.
I sort of started thinking about this again, and it doesn't really. And yeah, this is sort of still on the drawing boards. But I would do a thing, and this actually started with something I did on stream, where people would like DM me the name of a movie or a video game, and I would do my best to describe it really poorly. And people in the chat would try to guess what I was trying to describe. And this actually, we kind of ended up doing. This has been. I have a friend who does sort of game show type panels at conventions
Okay.
that we have sort of done this with a bunch of different. We loosely call it when we talk about it, we call it Koyaphone, and I don't like that as a title. But I'm thinking
Quaophone.
about developing this as a game show. So
Okay.
maybe maybe once a week I'll try one of these stupid uh little puzzles, little trivia, idiotic stoned trivia things on you.
I think that would be fun as hell, dude. I'd be all about it.
I got a
I
couple that I think are an okay example that
mm.
I can give you. Are you ready to have your brain tickled? Are you ready
What?
to
What?
wow.
You're
Are
are
you
you
ready for
the titillating? I'm ready to have my brain titillated.
titillating pinked? Um, yeah, this is gonna be like the Koya. I don't like putting my name in shit,
We'll
but
call
you
it
know, this is
the
gonna be
Koya
like
titillations.
the idiot stoners titillate brain titilatings. The
The
Jesus.
titillators.
Brain titilators.
Brain
Uh,
titillators. Brain titillators. Okay.
tell me what movie I'm talking about.
Go.
Um, a man steals some bread.
Aladdin.
No, Les Miserables.
Oh.
I guess it. um,
Although Les Miserables is
I
really good.
should. I should not have given you the pause to guess, really, because you were gonna guess. The,
Oh, you had a series of
and what
things
we're
to
gonna do
pitch.
is
Okay.
we're gonna end up figuring out what the format is because we've done it where people are just kind of guessing, and
Hmm.
these were sort of the easier ones. Um, so anyway, it was gonna be, but so check this out. If I hadn't given you the pause and you hadn't guessed, it would have been a man steals some bread.
Hmm.
He's being pursued by the police. He
Hmm.
meets a woman in town. He agrees to go on a type of quest for her. It still sounds like
It still
Aladdin, right?
sounds like a Aladdin.
But so what's great about this? There's going to be two types because this one really is just a trick. So if you had said Les Miserables, I would have said no, Aladdin. So sometimes, so I want you to know that some weeks I'm going to trick you.
I love it.
Okay, so
The
let me
tricky
just
ones.
and you know what? I'm gonna give this one. I decided I was because how before talking to you, I had these sort of as when we did them for conventions. I recorded these little videos of me saying these things and they were like lists, like how I just presented. Man
Yeah.
steals a loaf of bread, meets a woman in town, does a thing, pursued by the police. But so I'm presenting this one as an example because I think it's easy. But I'm also for some reason I want to present the disclaimer that I'm aware that this is a trope. Uh, so this is a video game where a serial kidnapper, on the weekends when he's not serial kidnapping people, he's really good friends with the one woman that he serially kidnaps all the time. And this is one of the first games about all the kind of things they do together with her cuckold boyfriend.
Wait a minute. This sounds like a Chris Pratt movie.
uh is th- yeah, yes, you're correct
Yeah,
if
it's
that's your
Mario.
guess.
Mario, but that's good. That's so
Mario,
great.
Mario Kart is the answer
Mario.
because it's on the weekends they go Mario Karting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is right. Per canon, that is correct. Yes, it is on the
Yeah,
weekends.
so I think maybe as a segment, and maybe I'll even do them as videos. We'll figure out what the most, but maybe a little because I was
Well,
thinking about little, maybe even if we took an intermission, if we wanted to, especially if we're talking about poop and torture, it might be nice to take a little break
break to do
right
something
around
fun.
6:30.
Yeah, we'll
So
have
maybe it'll be something. I'll have a little brain titillator for you.
that sounds like
Something
fun.
something
Yeah.
like what we just did.
I also had an idea of like maybe have like again, you got me back into Fall Guys, man. Like,
Oh yeah,
you
let's
know,
do that. Yo,
we got Fall Guys to do
you
this.
fall, you rip is great.
Yes, you fall, you rip as
I'll
well.
someday I'll get a dab rig. I don't know, maybe not.
Oh, you don't know, dude. You don't have to get a dab rig to match up, dude. Like, what you were
Maybe
smoking was
someday
fine.
maybe I'll get I mean, I want to rip. I could make a bog out of a couple, water bottles.
Oh yeah, that's an
Yeah,
easy to
that's
make a little
classic.
bubbler out of that.
Yeah,
Classic,
yeah,
dude, for
yeah.
sure. Um,
You ever man, all right. I don't mean to interrupt you. Were you
mm.
about to
Oh no, you're good. What you got?
Okay, obviously you've had like a gravity bong, right? Like with the
Oh yeah.
sink or
Mm-hmm.
like a tub of
I,
pretzels.
I,
Uh
yeah.
you ever you ever use someone ever this is the kind of thing that I feel like someone's like, "Yo, check this out." A device called a waterfall made out of a Sobe bottle, a glass Sobe bottle.
A waterfall.
A waterfall.
I have a feeling that water like basically creates the vacuum as it's falling out
Sure.
of the jar,
Sure.
and then you
You
take
know,
the rip out of the can. Okay, I think
pretty much.
I'm
Yeah.
familiar with it, but I've never actually seen it done.
You're familiar with Sobe, like South Beach beverages or whatever,
Yeah.
right? They come in those glass bottles that were like in the 90s for some reason they were like very very hip.
Okay.
But those little those bottles, they have this little like, I don't know if nipple is the right word, but they have a little, you know what it is? It actually, I can tell you exactly what it is. There's a device that faces those bottles. So when they come down the assembly line, they
Hmm.
all get spun so that they are facing, you know, the packaging. So all the labels are facing in the same direction where they're packaged.
Yeah.
And so there's a little divot in the bottom of the Sobe glass bottle. At least, right now I'm talking about probably 2005 or 6 when my idiot friends were doing this. But there's that little divot in the bottom of the bottle, so it's just perfect. You can take a screwdriver and just like pop a little bit. It'll just pop like a little tiny bit of glass right out of the bottom of the bottle. So you fill it with water, put your thumb over that little tiny hole, and then just like a gravity bong, you screw your lid with the weed on the top of it. And then when you relax your thumb, it all just pours out of the hole, and the
Wow.
smoke fills the bottle. And then you got a Sobe bottle full of pot smoke. And it was really trending somewhere around 2010, maybe. That was a real hip thing to do in my town.
Now, see, I remember on multiple occasions buying like a jug of Hawaiian Punch solely for the purpose of making gravity bongs. Like,
Okay, sure, yeah, like in the sink or
oh, we would do it in the bathtub. We
oh,
would,
sure, yeah.
yeah, we'd
You
fill
can
up.
have a couple guys going in the bathtub.
Oh yeah, we would have like two. I used to live in this like party house, and it was like me and a couple friends. And yeah, we would have like gravity bonds going, like so much booze. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
an
oh my
ungodly
god.
amount of gross, like awful bottom shelf liquors.
You know what? When we present the worst stories, I wonder when I'm going to present. This might even just all of my presentations this season might be my bottom worst lists of whatever. And one of them might be the worst places that I in particular have lived, where I will describe the most disgusting things that took place in each of those places.
Oh man,
Maybe I won't though.
I will I will be glad to regale more tales about that punk rock flap house that I lived in.
Yeah, we talked about threatening to do the worst places we've lived.
Oh yes.
Maybe that might be. I mean, I could definitely do 2 hours on the worst places I've lived.
I'd be about it.
It might be a whole 5-part fucking Hyperion motherfucker.
It might be a whole 5 part thing, but like,
Oh
why
God,
not?
horrible.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't even
interesting
know if I can
conversation.
talk about the things that have happened to me.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Is there legal? Can we
I
legally talk
really
about
like
this?
that. I mean, obviously, there's some stuff that I just
Oh
like,
yeah, absolutely. And
But I mean, I don't even like. I don't even think about. I seriously. I do often think about the fact that I do not think about anything that went on for the 10 to 15 years while I was drunk every day.
yeah,
I just don't even think about it. Just not even. Just
dude.
bad.
Yeah,
All the places bad. Just
absolutely. Right there with you,
not
dude.
full of poo. I've never been living in poo, really. I don't think
At least
I
there wasn't. At
haven't.
least there wasn't poo.
I got one poop story that was very. It kind of has died down a little bit.
Hmm.
Do you wanna hear the poop story?
Let's hear this
It
poop
was
story.
it was told on Twitch at one point,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, it's almost a two-parter. Yeah, maybe by the time we get there, you'll forget about the fact that I told you it was a poo story, because it's almost like you like to tell it. About Borjak Hoseman.
Poor Jack Goldsman. Yeah, he's one of my favorite Czech singers. No, I love
He d-
BoJack Horseman. It's great. Yeah.
There's a joke with Phoebe, not Phoebe, but Lisa Kudrow.
Yeah.
She says that like some maybe like a it's either a farmer that has bags of feed in his car or a carpenter that has bags of cement or something, but he throws a bag of something over the side of the highway or something, and it's supposed to be a joke and it falls flat. And
I don't believe I'm familiar with that now.
so basically that's like
Yeah.
in act 1, and then in act
Mm.
3 she tells another joke about how someone goes out to their car and they think someone's sitting in their car, and she builds all this tension about them creeping up to the door of the car to see who's sitting in their back seat silhouetted, and it's the bag of fucking cement that fell off the highway in the beginning in the other completely unrelated story. So this is almost two completely unrelated stories, and maybe this is one like I might be able to like polish this one out and tell it like that kind of joke. This story. So anyway, wow. I should. Why am I telling you all of the structure and nuance? Do you know? Do you understand? Like, I
I
really
need
like workshop everything that I do with everyone that I talk to, and that's part of why.
I need to really be there when the poop hits. You know,
Okay, well,
I need to be in that moment, and you're really selling that moment of the poop. So like you're good, dude. I'm there with you. I'm ready for this.
one of the absolute worst places I ever lived was in Chicago, Illinois.
Sounds about right.
It was an absolute hole. It used to be. It was a street level restaurant, or I don't even think it was. I think it was some kind of catering kitchen, or it probably was a repurposed unit of some meat packing
Right.
district. Fucking some kind of whatever fucking goes on in the meatpacking district. But it looked like it had been I mean, maybe even because the door to my bedroom was a fucking like the door to the fridge.
What the
You
fuck?
know what I mean?
Mm.
Like it was like it might have even just been we might have been living in a fucking butcher. Um, it was one the door that opened onto an alley, like the side door to the place, just was completely unsealed. Like when it snowed and shit, like it would just water would just come right in. There was just we couldn't afford heat. There was no heat turned on. We were all bundled up, and like
Oh my
there was
god.
water coming into like my bedroom where it was just a futon on the fucking concrete floor. Like I ended up throwing the futon out and just slept on. I was sleeping on the we were like building like levels. Like it was like the kind of shit that like if like some kind of health inspector or something had come in there, we would have gone to fucking jail because we were like building structures in there
You're
out of wood, like little cubicles to all huddle up in and live in, like try to survive in this weird burnt out butcher shop,
man,
or not even shop, just butchery.
if it's worth anything, I'm pretty sure most of those agencies actually don't give a shit about tenants. So,
Oh boy,
hmm actually, I'm right there with you here. Hold on 1 second.
all kinds of terrible things happened. There's so many bad stories of circle surrounding this place, and I mean, this was I was like, this is when I was at my worst, and this story doesn't even involve me. We had there was like a front room, which is why I almost said that I thought it was a restaurant, but like there weren't any windows, and we actually set it up as a gallery, and the front room was actually very nice somehow. It was amazing that it was attached to what was behind it. But in the front room we would have a gallery, and we would throw these parties and invite like everyone from the fucking art college. It was terrible, always
Oh my god.
terrible. One time my roommate had a Albert Einstein action figure that was very important to him. And some hipster kid from the art school was walking around with the Albert Einstein action figure. And somehow my roommate had seen him slip the Albert Einstein action figure like into his pocket. Like this, they were him and his friends were getting ready to leave. My roommate
Mm.
grabbed me. He was like, "You're big. Come stand behind me." This was common. Someone would be like, "Dave, come stand behind me while I throw someone out." This was like the worst college, like no, like this. I mean, at some point we'll get into why I'm like this, but I mean, this was just the perfect and also worst place for me to be living at the time.
hmm
Uh, so we throw this guy out and we retrieve uh the action figure. It's safe. Breezy takes it back to his room.
hmm
Breezy was the only one of us that had a car, and his car had broken glass. Um, I can't believe these things happen to me. Uh, Caulked along the side of it so that if anyone brushed up against or touched his car, they would be touching broken glass. He had broken glass in caulk stuck to the door handles of his car so only he could open his car.
Wow.
We throw
That's
everyone out. Go ahead.
that's just fucking crazy.
I can everything when I think about it, every single thing we were doing was so not just illegal but downright bad.
Oh
Like I can't believe that this didn't end in some kind of. It really didn't. Really, one of those idiots smashed someone's GameCube. As far as I know, that's the worst thing that happened. Um,
yeah.
Other than what I'm about to tell you, one of the girls he was with is banging on the door,
Oh no.
banging, banging, banging on the door, and she's screaming at us. We open the door, and she's like, "You have to let me in. My phone's in there. I'm gonna call the police and tell them that you fuckers stole my phone. Just let me come in and get my phone. You fuckers can't tell me not to. You can't make me go away and
Why
not
do I think
have
D
my phone."
Reynolds? I see D Reynolds in my head
It's
for some
that's
reason.
exactly who it was. She's screaming about our cocks and stuff,
Oh,
and
you little bitches!
she goes in and looks. She's tearing the couch cushions apart. She's looking all over the fucking place.
Wow.
No phone. She thinks that one of us has it. I didn't have it. I'm not entirely clear about how we even. It might even be that as Breezy was escorting her out without her phone,
Mhm.
that he like opened the front door to our place because it was like a weird thing where
Mhm.
it would have been one of those little things where it opened into like a little alcove and then there were like three or four little businesses that would have been in like a little thing. So when he ushered her out through the little alcove onto the street through the front entrance,
Mhm.
he noticed that the front door, which went to four other businesses, had been heavily vandalized with very similar things to the stuff she was saying about our cocks. And as and he and I thought it was very strange that he suddenly vanished as I kind of finished escorting her out, and our other friend Adrian, who lived there, like kind of appeared and was like, we were both looking at the door, and I swear to God, as she like hurried off with her other idiot friends, Breezy in his fucking Mad Max car came around the corner and drove onto the sidewalk. It, I guess, in an attempted vehicular manslaughter.
Oh man.
They got away, and he drove into a fucking guardrail right
Oh
in
no.
front of our house.
What the fuck?
That was probably not the worst party that happened at that place, but it was the worst one I was at. It was so bad that after that you could not flush the toilet. Now we're at the poop part.
Oh shit.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, it was like, and we couldn't figure it out because we would try to there was something clogged. We couldn't really plunge it, and we would like every like because it almost became like a fascination. We would sit there like plunging the toilet, trying to plunge it, and eventually like we would have like kind of pushed down all the poop, and like the water would be clear. We'd be like, okay, like flush it, okay, all right, someone pee in it, okay, and like, but you couldn't poop in it, so like we would eventually realize that someone would poop in it, and the poop would just kind of shred and come back up, and like we'd have to push it down with the plunger again. So people had to poop. We were going to other businesses and places to poop. We couldn't poop at home,
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
and we couldn't figure out what was wrong with the toilet. And as you can probably tell, the landlord didn't give a lot of shits about what was going on at this place. But
No, obviously.
eventually, but we actually kind of knew the maintenance guy that our landlord used, and the maintenance guy came down and he took the whole toilet off of the floor, like completely disconnected the water, like took the toilet off the floor down and looked in underneath. And I actually I'm so glad that I was the one that was sitting in the living room, kind of just not baby, but when there's like a maintenance guy in the house, they were like, just, it was honestly, I have always been the guy whose job it is to, babysit the maintenance guy. But anyway, and do any other kind of bad. You know why? Because I'm so socially awkward that people are like, just go tell this guy this thing. And I'm like, okay. And then I do it, and then I'm the one in fucking trouble. None of that has anything to do with this story, sorry. But I'm trying, through these stories, I've been thinking a lot about these stories, and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with me. Anyway,
I bet.
at the
Yeah.
bottom, at the base of the toilet, he called me in, and I came and looked at I wasn't babysitting him, but I came and looked at the base, at what was in the base of the toilet. What was it?
Oh no. It's a
You don't know?
nice coiled turd, I assume.
It was the girl's cell phone.
Oh, is it what?
It was lodged in the where the toilet meets the floor. It was just perfectly lodged, right, just most of blocking most of the way, but like a liquid, and like maybe if you were to really bash the shit up would go past, but it was just perfectly blocking 75% of the poop chute. That girl cursed us by flushing her own phone down the toilet. She didn't know that she flushed it down
What?
the toilet. She thought she lost it, but she lost it
By
by
flushing
it
it down
falling
the
out of her
fucking
back.
to- Oh my
It fell out of her
god.
pocket into the toilet, and she pissed on it and flushed it, and
What?
ruined our lives for weeks. It
Oh,
doesn't really have to be a two-part story, right? I can totally,
that's
because
a that's a
you forgot about the phone. That's the point. It's the reason it's a two-point part story is because I wanted to make people forget about the phone, but there's enough in there that you
well,
forgot about the
no,
phone by the time
no,
you got there.
no, no. There's enough transition. That's enough transitional, you know, uh, um, oh God, not
Liminal
gross, but
material,
yeah. That's enough. That's like enough
connective
setup to
tissue.
go. Yeah, yeah. There's interconnectivity between the two individual like stories. Yeah, absolutely. Like I told you the story about the time that I thought I broke the space time continuum when I saw myself on TV.
I don't know if you told me that.
Oh, well then. Hold on. I'm gonna do another dab, and
Oh,
I'm I,
great!
let's
Right, awesome,
discuss. Let's discuss
terrific. I'm into it.
because this one's a doozy. Um, so in my youth, I used to love. I mean, even in my older age, I do like going to concerts, but not as much. But in my youth, I used to go to like shows all the fucking time. If there was like this anarchist commune that like used to throw shows all the time, and if there was
Sure.
anything happening, I was always there. There happened to be this like small label festival called Insubordination Fest in Baltimore, Maryland, and like all these rad bands were playing. The Ergs were playing, uh, fucking Dirt Bike Annie, MC Chris
Okay.
played. That was pretty cool. Um, a lot of my favorite bands were playing. The Dopamines, oh god, fucking Be My Doppelganger. That's that band. Anyway, so
Be my
it
doppelganger.
yeah, really fun band from Evansville, Indiana. But so I go to this festival with some friends, and I go like nobody wants to go to the opening like we got tickets for the 3 day weekend, and nobody wanted to go to the opening show. I'm like, they all wanted to stay at the hotel and smoke weed. I'm like, what the fuck? Why do we pay all this money to get the tickets for then? Like, let's fucking go to the
Sure.
show. Like, we're in town. We're in Baltimore, man. Like, it kind of again, I'm from Detroit. I'm like, it looks like home to me. So this is like no different. Like, let's party. Let's do it. And nobody wanted to go out. I'm like, fine, fuck you guys. I'm gonna go by myself. And I have them drop me off in my and like I drove and I had them drop me off in my car, and I let them take my car back to the hotel. To which apparently
Okay.
throughout the evening they used to go out for runs for Taco Bell and everything else, all while baked off their
Oh.
asses. I know. I'm like, and they didn't even get me any.
Wow.
Didn't even get me any bastards.
That's some shit.
I know, but we went to so I go to the show, and I remember telling the drummer of this band called the Pillow Fights. I got really, really drunk, and like
The
I'm not.
pillow fights, I love that.
Yeah, they're a great band, but I got really drunk, and he showed me a picture of his child, and I said his child was ugly or something.
Oh boy.
I don't know why the
That's
fuck.
not what
Yeah,
you say.
I don't know why I said. I don't know why I said it, but I said it to him. But anyway, so I'm wasted. I barely remember calling them to come pick me up. And next thing that I know is I wake up the next morning in the hotel comforter in the back seat of my car, and it's morning. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on? And the car is moving, mind you. And my friends get,
Oh.
and they go, what's up, nerd? We're gonna go to New Jersey to go to the shore. And we're like, why? And they're like, oh, it's the ocean. Why not? I'm like, there's ocean in like Baltimore, man. And they're like, yeah, but this is the Jersey Shore. Like, I don't know, maybe there's like Snooki or something. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, there's Snooky.
or maybe there's Snooki or something. I'm like, what the fuck? Why the fuck are we here?
Wow.
Why
That's
the fuck?
terrific.
um. So we go to the shore. It was actually kind of nice. Like, it was like right off the boardwalk and all that jazz. Like, fucking the Ferris wheel and all that shit.
Sure.
Have a grand old time. We're driving back, and quick little side note: I end up accidentally pissing off a New Jersey highway patrol woman
Oh, good.
by staying in the wrong lane, by staying in the lane and not moving out of the way to let her pass. I wasn't
Oh,
paying
you
attention.
didn't let the highway patrol lady pass.
Well, she didn't have her lights on. She was just driving, and I
Okay,
was in
okay.
the
You
left
just you
lane. I
okay.
wasn't paying attention. I should have moved out of the way for the faster traffic, and I sat there because you don't pass on the right. So she pulls me over, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. We're from Detroit. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I apologize. Like, I didn't mean to cause any problem." She goes, "Okay, look, I'm not gonna give you a ticket because you seem like some alright kids." And mind you, everybody had been smoking like weed in the car just a minute before,
Yeah. Oh,
and they
just a
and they
minute
and,
before,
and they
huh?
stashed everything. And she goes, "Y'all seem like nice kids. Just promise me you'll go to Atlantic City." And we're like, "You got it." And she goes, "All right, you have a good one." And we drive off. I've never been more scared in my life.
Did you go to Atlantic City to appease
Oh,
her?
fuck no. We got out of New Jersey. We got
Yeah.
out of New
Like,
Jersey to
what the
appease her.
fuck are you doing in New Jersey? Oh my
I
god.
know, right? That's what I said. Um,
Holy crazy.
so so we go to so we end up going to Philly next. Another town that I really did not have a good time in. Like,
No?
no, I did not enjoy Philly that much. For one, uh, so my friend had told me that it was like the Food Network was doing like a special there about the competing Philly cheesesteak places, Geno's and Nick's or whatever, or Nate's or I don't fucking know, whatever their
Sure.
names are. But
I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know anything about
I
cheesesteak.
Philly cheesesteaks are good. But we went to I believe the smaller of the French of the shops, and there was just a line around the block. It was the hottest day in Philly. There was
Oh, just a beautiful day for cheesesteaks, huh?
we lost the car on the way back. It was awful.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Boy,
Philly was
losing the
terrible.
car is never fun.
No, but so
Oh, that's a good way to get a bad taste in your mouth for a whole city.
oh yeah. Let alone all the fucking streets look the same. All the streets looked the same. We had no idea where we were going or what direction we were facing. It was like Chip's challenge, dude.
Yeah.
It was like you go one way and then you're next thing you know you're on the ice rink looping all the way back around to the place where you began.
Yep.
Uh, um so um but before that uh so again the Food Network was there, and then you have like people with like signs say like, oh, this is like, this
The
shop's
best
better.
Philly
This is the best Philly
cheesesteak.
chicken.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they're all cheering, hoot and hollering in these like staged photo ops or whatever. And then my friend asked me to go in line to get a pop, and so I go in the line and I'm waiting, and I look dead across like down the street, like right in between of where like both the shops were, and there was this guy with his back to me, and he has this big, golden trophy. And
Okay.
there's a camera pointing directly at him, and he's like
Okay.
talking, and he's talking, and I assume that he won. I look at him, I'm like, oh, well, hey, that's cool. Like, good for him that he won. And I turn back around. We get our pop. We go to the festival, have ourselves a grand time. Other shit happened with that, but I'll tell that on another day.
Okay.
Flash forward to maybe a year and a half later. Um, Buddy of mine calls me up and he goes, hey man, I found somebody who has acid. Let's go do that.
Okay.
Not to say that you
Oh.
should do that, children. Don't
Uh,
do that. Do not talk
okay.
to creepy
Don't. All right.
strangers.
Yep. Okay.
Um, but it just so happened to be like my friend's neighbor, who was this tiny little pixie woman who like wore nothing but like a nightgown and like a shawl, and like hippy dippy woman, smelled like patchouli. And she goes, oh hey guys, how's it going? Welcome, come in. And we go in and we sit down. Like, anybody want any tea or anything? And like, no, we're good. And she goes and doses everything, puts them on Smarties, which was that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Instead of
Okay.
paper, puts them on Smarties and wraps them in tin foil. All right, boys, there you go. Have yourselves a good time. Paid her up, and we walked out the door. I'm like, she was the most serene, sweet woman I think I've ever met. And he goes, well, that's really odd because she's actually a dominatrix.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. A very interesting way to kind of have that happen. But so we get
Oh.
it. We go to the bar. We end up meeting a friend of ours, and we had like a handful of Smarties each. Not like an actual
Oh
literal
boy.
handful, but like a couple
Yeah, you have a
each.
couple. Yeah,
We had a
yeah,
couple, and so I take one. My friend takes one. My other friend who shows up, he goes, oh, I want one. So we give him one, and he's like, all right, man. Well, I should probably get home before this starts kicking in. I'll catch y'all later. And he leaves. Like, not even like 10 minutes later, he calls us and he goes, guys, uh, I had to stop for a minute. This got really heavy really quick, and as soon as we got off the phone with him, we started feeling everything. We were walking down the street, wandering through the city, and we end up going to our another friend's apartment. He lives in like these really fancy apartments that are owned by this university, and uh, you have to like have them come down and get you to go up into the building. So we're waiting on him, and we're feeling everything. The ground's moving. We found an interdimensional portal on the freeway.
Oh.
All sorts of everything that you
What were
expect
you
out.
doing on the freeway?
Oh, we weren't on the freeway. We were
You
looking
should
at the
not have been
freeway.
anywhere near the freeway.
We were on an overpass, and we found it. So, um, we we yeah, we were all sorts of gone, and then eventually our friend comes down and gets us, and he goes, "Guys, your eyes are as like your pupils are as big as saucers.
Yeah.
What the hell happened to you?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you." And you know, we told him about what was going on. He goes, "All right, come on up. We'll get some pizza and we'll hang out." So him and my other friends were like playing Left 4 Dead on like grotesque mode or some shit, and it was just like such a sensory overload. I couldn't take it, so I kind of looked away for a minute. I eventually came back in the room, and they're like, yeah, like this is getting like to be too much. Let's watch something else. And so he's flipping through the channels, and it comes. to the Food Network?" And he goes, "Yeah, Food Network's easygoing. Here you go. Have some Food Network." And we're watching, and and there's this, the you know the start the screen for the intro for the show, like Food Wars, pops up, and I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard of this show." Next thing I know, they're like, "We're here in Philadelphia
Yep.
to talk about Philly cheesesteaks and these two competing Philly cheesesteak places." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I know this. I think I was there for that." And I tell my friends, I'm like, "Hey, I think I was there
Oh
for that.
boy,
Check that out." And
that's
and and it was
incredible.
like, and it turned out that it was like the end of the episode where they revealed the winner. And
Yep.
then it turns out, like, the one of the shops won, and and it cuts, and then there's this dude with his trophy, like, "I am so, honored to win this award, blah 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 blah." And if you look directly over his shoulder from the camera view, you can see me in line, lining up to go get a pop, and turn dead to the camera and stare.
Into the camera.
I looked into the camera, apparently.
Yo, acid is so great. Yeah, I feel like I don't want to encourage anybody to do acid.
No,
But boy, I tell you, I can appreciate that story on an acid level. Like
little
I am sure that you guys went berserk.
we shat,
Brains destroyed.
dude.
That's so good.
Oh man, we fell apart when we thought that we broke. I thought I personally broke the time space
Like I can't believe you looked at the camera. That really is it. It's really when something is weird is happening when you're on acid, and
continuum.
then somebody makes eye contact with you.
Or you somehow look in a mirror or something reflective. That's when it gets interesting. Uh, yeah, that was a wild time. That was a very wild time. Uh, but yeah, again, technically a two-part story, but it all linked into one.
Yeah, that's a good two-parter though. That's pretty good.
Oh man.
You ever you ever like be like in a public restaurant, when you like look over like just casually look like in a direction and somehow you just like meet eyes
With somebody.
with a person in the restaurant at another table,
Hmm.
and then like for the rest of the meal you're kind of like don't look over there,
Mm.
but maybe you do and maybe you lock eyes again.
Oh. And
You
you
know
come
that
to find that
phenomenon?
they've never stopped staring at you. Yeah, I've had those moments.
Let me tell you a story.
Dish.
I was on LSD with my friend Mark. My
Mark.
friend Mark me and my friend Mark were in a we were in a student lounge in college on LSD, sitting in two armchairs facing each other. And there was another room. It was like a situation where there was like an archway,
Hmm.
and there was another room with a very similar setup of a couple little tables with like armchairs. Like it was kind of nice.
Hmm.
But I looked over and I, on acid, made eye contact with someone in that other room. And I immediately looked down and I kind of told Mark what had happened. I was like, "Oh man, when you like look over and like make eye contact with like a stranger," and I was like, "I really don't want that to be happening right now." And he was like, "Yeah, you sure don't." And I was like, "I really," and like we both sat there with it for a while, as you do on acid. And I was like,
Yeah.
I guess I got to look over there to see if he's still looking at me. And like I looked over at him, and his eyes were still on me so hard that I immediately looked away. And I was like, okay, that guy knows that we're on acid. He knows that we are talking about him,
See,
and we got to get out of here. This is like this is starting to get fucked. And Mark kind of looked over and he was like, that guy is not looking at you. And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, he's not looking at you. You are on acid in
What?
public in college. I was like, I'm going to look over. And he was like, it's going to be fine because he's not looking at you. Just look at him and then we can do whatever the hell we're doing. We were playing Magic the Gathering.
Oh, nice.
I looked over at the man in the other room, and not only was he looking directly at me, he had his mouth open and like his teeth out. Like he was making a face at me.
he
And
was
you know what?
he was giving him the lazy eye.
He was like giving me like the rictus grin. Like he had his fucking teeth, was like his teeth were out looking at me.
Oh God, have you ever watched Strangers with Candy?
Oh, a very long time ago, but
What,
I almost feel like I might know what you're talking about.
the dad?
There's there's some like teeth, like prosthetic teeth in that movie, maybe.
Well, Amy Sedaris has fake teeth in that movie, yes,
Yes, okay.
but
She
but
always does.
but the funny thing is, the father, who was like this older guy, who would like be basically
The gay
frozen.
guy.
Hmm?
Is he
Huh?
the gay guy?
The gay guy? I don't think he was a gay guy. No,
Oh,
he was.
there's like a big gay number in that movie.
Oh, with Stephen Colbert and the art teacher. Yeah,
Oh, is that okay? Oh
yeah.
no. Oh my god. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Brain Candy. Is that what it's
Oh,
called?
the
Kids in the
Kids in the
Hall.
Hall movie. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm thinking about. Yeah. Never mind.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So I know Strangers with Candy is. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
That's all good.
Anyway,
But yeah,
no, I
the
don't recall the guy. Anyway, okay.
that's okay. But yeah, he basically had like the same creepy sort of like face where it was
Rictus
just
grin.
frozen with teeth open and
Yeah.
just gnarly. Yeah, that
Uh.
sort of shit.
So anyway, that guy in the other room
Yeah.
was Mark because the doorway to the other room was a mirror,
What the fuck?
and I didn't want to even look around so bad that I didn't, because every time I looked at him. As soon as I saw his eyes on me, I looked away.
It's not
Acid.
a door.
I guess we got to keep not. Yeah, I don't recommend. No one. Yeah, no, don't do acid.
No, do mushrooms.
I mean, unless you know what you're doing, but
Mm.
no.
And you know who
Everyone
you're dealing with,
make
know
your
who you're
own
talking to.
goddamn decisions, but I don't encourage anybody to take hallucinogens. Probably.
Mm, yeah. Uh. Oh gosh. I'm trying to think of another fun little trip story. I think I told the one where I
Oh
was
my
on.
god.
I think when I went on tour, I think I told that one.
When you had to eat, you got paid to eat a lasagna in some
Oh
kind of pornographic television.
no, I no. So um, I was filling in for a friend's band. We're on tour in California. We stopped by our drummer's house, who lives out there, and he goes, hey, I got these extra, mushrooms that I'm probably not gonna eat. You want them? And I'm like, yeah, dish them. And so I eat the
I
whole
got
thing.
this acid and I can't do it.
I yeah, I popped like a eater, and we keep on going north through California, and that's where like the rolling hills are. And I just remember commenting absolutely out of my gourd that the hills and the mountains in that side of town looked like some being beyond our grasp had taken its thumb and stuck it into the earth like it was pizza dough.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a weird time. And then And while I'm like, watching, the waves of mountains and stuff like that, our guitar player slash like kind of leader of the group was like, hey, we're gonna pull over to get an oil change on the van. So like, get ready for that. And I'm like, oh shit, we're doing the oil change already. Ah, crap. I thought I had a little more time. All right, fine. So I tried to like, catch myself and sober up a little bit before
Yeah.
going into this
Oh
car
boy.
dealership.
Yeah, let's get our heads together and go into the car dealership. That's always fun. That's so much fun, no matter what it is. Let's get our heads together and go talk to a fucking sober person for a minute. That's no problem.
Dude,
Yeah. That's one of
and
my favorite things to do on acid.
what my favorite thing about that though was this particular lot. They didn't have like separate lots for storage. It was all one gigantic mileage of like lot, and
Okay, yeah.
it was all filled with cars. So it was
Sure.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
world's biggest parking lot while you're
Longest, flattest, yeah.
while you're freaking out of your gourd. It's great. It was pretty neat looking, and I sat there and stared out the window for a moment. I've got my glasses on, so nobody sees my pupils, thankfully.
Yeah, good,
And
good.
in this in the dealership, there's a popcorn machine. I go up and I grab like a couple scoops, and I go and I sit down in the lounge, and I kick back and I just devour this fucking popcorn. And
Yeah.
I'm not noticing the entire time that there's this woman dead across from me, this little old
Oh,
lady in her like late 60s or something like that.
okay.
And I look up at her and she looks back at me and she like nods at me and I thought and I'm thinking, "Oh my god, did she say something? Did I miss saying it? Oh,
Oh,
oh
that's
man,
oh
that's
yeah,
the
okay.
worst."
Did
And I
I say something?
did
Did
I say
she say
something? And
something?
I'm like
Neither of us said anything, right? I don't think anyone's saying anything.
and I go, "I'm
Did I
sorry."
just say that?
I said, I'm sorry." And she goes, "Is the popcorn good?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's great."
Yes.
And she immediately gets up and goes, "Well, I'm gonna go get some." And she walks away. And I never saw her again because I'm pretty sure I freaked her the fuck out. Or my acid
Wow.
washed brain just thinks that I freaked her the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows? Who will
And who
ever
will
know
ever
the
know?
truth?
Just like who will ever know whether Blanche Monnier was actually crazy
Yes.
prior to the incarceration?
The imprisonment.
Yes. Um. Oh, that reminds me.
Boy.
I had a poop story. I totally forgot I
Oh
had a
great.
I had a
Oh
good
yeah.
real quick poop story. Um.
Yeah. I got a poop story and let's hear yours.
All right, another really quick poop story. So I think I told you about that. I used to live in a flop house with a bunch of friends.
Oh, for sure. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. Where
yeah.
all the best poop stories come from.
Oh yeah. So and again, it was friend's uncle's house, and we just all lived there and paid $12 a month to cover
Yep.
the
Crazy.
utilities. It was great. I've never
A
paid less for
crazy
a
good
place.
deal. I love that kind of shit.
Yeah, I didn't even care that I slept
Boy,
on
I
the
lived in
floor.
some shit holes. Yeah, man.
So um in the basement there was like three separate rooms. There was like the main basement area, which was like this little like it was a tiled floor area, and it was like it was like a bar that we'd built in the basement. And
Sure.
then and that was through like a door on the left in this little tiny hallway once you get to the landing of the basement. On the right hand in front, or actually in the dead center in front of you was a bathroom, and then to the right was this red room that uh, that was used for the bands that lived in the house to practice in. And we would all party in that room. We would like get stoned and play tunes until the wee hours and shit. Um,
Rad, yeah.
um, and then one day the owner's nephew, our friend, we'll call him Jake. Jake comes up and goes like, hey, you know, we got to clean up that the band room. It's starting to get like pretty gnarly in there. And we go, okay, man, we'll take care of it. Don't worry.
Oh boy.
And of course we all forget. And we let it go for a little bit, and then one day, like I think one of us ate it on like a broken drumstick, like a broken like drumstick, and
Sure.
we're like, okay, yeah, let's clean it up. Let's clean this shit up. So we clean up the entire room, and you know, not even noticing that there was this big red box in the middle of the room, and I turned to everybody. I'm like, what, what's with the box? And everybody goes, I don't know, but it's probably trash, so we pick it up and throw it away. And
Oh boy.
Jake comes home from work, and we're all still smoking in the band room, and he comes in, he goes, I see you finally cleaned up the red room, perfect, I appreciate that. And he goes, although I did have to give you some incentive though, didn't I? And we're like,
Oh no.
what incentive, man? You told us to get it done, and we got it done. He goes, no, you guys waited like a whole week to get it done. So I shit in one of the red boxes that you had in
Of
this room
course
and
he
left it there.
did. What else do you do? Of course he shit in one of the red boxes.
he was the king of poop stories.
Oh boy.
He apparently was on like a 48-hour Halo kick, and
Oh no.
it was so bad that he had shit his pants multiple times.
Oh.
Yeah.
Come
And
on.
his
Don't
girlfriend
just
and
play Halo and shit in your pants.
his girlfriend would clean up after him. Right? Who would deal with that? Thankfully, I don't know what it was. That I think he might have had
I
like
go define clean up after him. She took his pants away. She threw him
put
in the laundry.
threw him in the
She
laundry, then
wiped his ass for him.
didn't wipe his ass, but like literally
God,
picked him up and put him into a
I
shower.
I had
Uh
to chuck a kid in a shower one time, but boy, I mean, you
mhm.
know what?
Oh,
That
I get.
goddamn.
I've been that kid that had to get chucked. I actually got chucked through a Christmas tree
That's
at that house.
that's pretty unique. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I again, I'm like the tiniest dude amongst my friends, and this dude, um, I don't know why I was just joking with him or something like that. I don't even remember because it was, of course, when I was drinking. Uh, we get into this little like, uh, I don't know what we were talking about, but I started making fun of him or something, and he like toughens up, but he was like joking, but I thought he was serious, and so I'm like, oh, what? What are you gonna do? Okay, let's go, buddy. Like, come on.
Oh
And
God.
he literally is like, dude, I'm fucking with you. Don't be like that. Like, little man, I will pick you up. So, and I'm like, come on, man, let's see what you got. And he picks my ass up and throws me through the Christmas tree.
Very
I
good.
got up, and I'm like, okay, okay. I talk too much. Oh man, that was a time. But anyways, man. Yeah. What's the rest of your week looking like? We'll plan a day to do a you fall, you rip.
Yeah, let's see. Thursday. Let me put my glasses on and turn around and look at my schedule. Yeah, I will probably be doing. Yeah, I'll probably be doing a little bit driving around in Thursday before like noon. So like any time in the afternoon, like if 5 is what you like doing, that's fine. But if you
Yeah.
want to do it early, let me know. But the next day would be Thursday. If Thursday's not good for you, we can.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can do Thursday.
Thursday good?
That's fine.
All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Let's
Thursday's
punch
great
it in.
for me.
Yeah. For yeah, and like as long as it's not interfering with like a meal or whatever. Like yeah, five sounds cool.
No, that's great. Yeah,
All right.
that's a great time for me to do shit.
Killer bud. All right
Awesome.
then.
Thank you.
Again, thanks again for helping me do this show. It's always been a
Yo,
blast,
great shit today. That was
dude.
something else.
Dude, I got inspired. So this like
Good.
it's gonna be. I'm hoping to do more stupid gaggy shit like that.
I love it. Let's do stupid shit.
Let's do some stupid shit, bud. All right. Well, hey, you take it easy, dude. I'm gonna go stuff my face full of macaroni.
Yeah, I'm gonna cook something.
Do it up, but I'll catch you around.
Peace.
Peace.